Hi Athens, this is Nan Michael, co-host of Kaleidoscope on my next to last show. I'm retiring. I'm tired and retiring, so next week will be my last co-hosting spree with my co-host who will be the host after next week, Jane Penwell.
Remember, you're going to come back as a guest.
Maybe after 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, what kind of progress have you made in replacing me?
None. Zippo zero. I don't want to make a commitment to anybody because I don't know how much longer I'm going to be in Athens.
Well, you don't have. They can come up with somebody to replace you.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to ask some of my friends to co-host with me, and we'll see how it works out. So.
Well, let me tell you, you know, getting the footage is kind of stressful sometimes. So we only have, I think, 10 minutes today of footage.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know that. I'm well aware of that. I'm not a videotaper. So for me, that's the part. I mean, I should really go out and hunt for somebody that likes to videotape.
You really should.
And I don't care if they can talk. I can talk if they can videotape. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. Almost everybody I know has already got video of stuff. So we'll see how it works out.
It's really difficult to do it all alone.
I'm sure that's true. It's a big responsibility. If I have to do it all alone, it'll probably go to every 2 weeks instead of every week, I bet.
Oh, dear, that's not good for access. One of the good things about Patricia's show is it's every week, and Bob Whaley's and Lois Whaley's show, they stick to a schedule. Every other week, people forget you.
Forget me? No, Athens. You'll never forget me, will you? As I struggle with this, you know, this burden that Nan has thrust upon me. You have to stay with me till I get this figured out.
Well, I brought a couple of little notes, and I can't find one of them, so I can't be accurate. But it said in 5 years, Japan is going to have 30 million men needing a wife.
30 million? Gee whiz. 30 million.
They cut down on
Why Japan?
females, you know, one-child families, and then...
don't you mean China?
What did I say?
You said Japan, but you mean China.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, see, that's why I got to get out of this thing.
Well, you got me to help you out here. Yeah, I've read that a couple different times, and they have speculated about what these guys are going to do. Where are they going to go in the world to find themselves wives?
Well, they may have to make homosexual laws a little more lax.
Yeah, maybe so. Well, there's a lot of Chinese people in other countries. You know, fairly large communities of Chinese people in other countries. I think they said Indonesia, and I don't know. There's certainly a lot of Chinese people in the United States too. So maybe that's a resource for them. I don't know. But I feel sorry for them. You know, it's a sad thing when you think you're young, you know, one of your dreams is to start a family and get married, settle down, start a family, and you just can't.
Well, the planners didn't do a very good job of planning.
No, they didn't. Because given a one child, everybody wants that one child to be a boy. So what do you do? It's a shame.
Well, I have another note here that a Swedish father was arrested for kidnapping his own child because the neighbors didn't recognize him. He shaved off his beard and they thought he was a stranger.
Now that reminds me of a story.
All right.
Are you ready? When I was in college at OSU, I took a political science course, and the professor was a guy with a humongous bushy beard. I mean, it probably was like that big, because all over his face. All you could see were his eyes and his eyebrows and his forehead. Okay, so he said when the class started, you don't have to come every day. It's okay if you don't. Well, that was music to my ears because I was working, to pay for my books and stuff. And so I missed a lot of classes. And I came in one day and I turned around to leave because I thought I was in the wrong room. And the guy said, "Oh no, Miss Williams, it's me. I just shaved my beard off because I'm going for a job interview." And I said, "Okay." Sat down. And he said to me, "I really do think you should come more often."
I wonder how long it had been shaved off.
I don't know, but boy, it was just, I had no idea that was that guy in this world. I didn't think it was him, so I was shocked. And everybody was laughing, you can imagine, when he said that.
Yeah.
So, yes, shaving off a beard can make a huge difference in somebody.
Well,
Huge.
I guess society is getting a little more violent. A motel in Michigan had to kick 30 people out because they had a near riot over a waffle iron in the breakfast place. 30 people were in the melee.
Oh, my goodness. 30 people all wanted a waffle?
Well, it started with 2 people. It's my waffle. No, it's my waffle.
I see. Well, I mean, if you'll get into a fight with somebody in the breakfast room of a motel over a waffle, you have anger issues. You have deeper problems than a waffle will cure.
I would think. And those extra people that got into it, I wonder why they got into it.
I don't know. Maybe there were 2 families, that guy that wanted the waffle and his family, and then the other guy that wouldn't give it to him and his family. Maybe it was 2 families. I don't know.
But I wouldn't
I would say if that were
attack somebody physically.
Oh, me neither, but I'd just say give him the waffle. It's not worth worrying about, and make another one. What's that? What's a waffle? But I don't know, I guess.
Well, we think we have problems. There are 751 inmates in California on death row.
Mm-hmm.
751.
Yep. I'm not a bit surprised. In
they're-
fact, that's on the low end from what I would have thought it was.
Well, they're running out of space for them.
Well, hopefully they'll, that all this stuff is going to change because we cannot afford the prison system that we currently have. We are spending billions and billions of dollars to incarcerate people, to keep them there, for the most part, for no good reason. I mean, a lot of these young guys that are in there for drug charge, they had a bag full of marijuana that weighed more than 3 ounces or something. I mean, they're just going to have to do something else with those people. Nan and I have both worked in prisons, and I think you find when you work in a prison how many people there are just like anybody else. I mean, there are bad people, don't get me wrong, and there are people who belong there. But so many of these drug laws got so harsh, so fast, and they started putting people in prison for life, for drug charges. I mean, there's no sense in that.
And the 3 strikes and you're out was not a very
Right.
good.
And what you're doing then is you, the taxpayer, via the state, are assuming complete responsibility for this person, for his dental care, his vision care, his health care, his 3 hots, 3 meals every day, giving him a bed to sleep in. I mean, you're responsible for all of that. Why do you want to be? Why do you want to be responsible? Let that guy go to a treatment center, let him get treatment. When I also worked for the Court of Common Pleas in Columbus in what they call a diversionary program. And that they were diverting these young guys who were arrested on these kinds of charges to a different setting where we worked with them. They got their GED. I was the person who helped them get a job, you know, that sort of thing. And of course, if they didn't comply with our rules, they went on down the road to prison. But the vast majority of them did. They didn't want to go to prison, especially, I could tell them stories. You think that that's some kind of a glamorous place, prison? That's the least glamorous place you'll ever be in, and you worry about your life every minute of every day in a men's prison. You don't know what's going to happen to you. So take my advice. Get your GED, get you a job, and don't even think about going to prison. I would just lecture them.
So it's like you're addressing our viewers who are on the verge of criminal activity.
Just in case there's one guy out there, don't do it. You see these shows on TV, you know, they make prison look not so bad. It's awful. It's terrible.
Well, I guess some of the federal prisons are like country clubs.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
The Wall Street.
There is no prison in Ohio that's anything like that. They're old, they're dingy, they're full of rats and mice and bugs and very nasty people who want everything you've got. And I mean everything. So anyhow, that's what I would tell these guys, you know. I'd tell these young boys, no, and the sad thing about it is that they're into this street life, so there is some glamour to doing time, you know, when you're in that street life. You think, well, I'm big stuff, I've done time. Oh. Sad tale, but true. You'll be much less glamorous once you get out of there. And here's another good one. When you leave, okay, what do they give you? They give you the ugliest looking clothes you could ever imagine and a ride to the bus station. How about that when you get out? So that's your chance to make it. So it's really not, I don't know how we've...
Not a fun thing to do.
No, it isn't. And I don't know how we've glamorized this in our society, but in some ways we have. And everybody is going to try to take whatever you've got. So you have to deal with that. That's probably the worst. So when I worked in the women's prison, there was this one girl, and she was so scared. She just shook all the time. She was just scared to death. And they called her Kroger.
They called her what?
Kroger.
Kroger?
Mm-hmm. Because you could shop in her room. She'd let you have anything. Because she was so scared of everybody.
Oh.
And, you know, that's just the life. That's just the way it is there in that. And that was a good place. I mean, that was women, first of all, and they're not anywhere near as, you know, physically dangerous as the men.
Well, I guess for the first time that I'm aware of, some of the politicians are running on a ticket to not increase the prison size.
Yes.
To reckon with the cost.
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's just, we are paying, one time, and this has been probably 15 years ago, I'm sorry, there's a little gnat in here. I read that we could send everybody in the state of Ohio in prison to Harvard, not Ohio State, and still save money. Still save money. Now that's just unbelievable, you know, just unbelievable. And I'll tell you this much too. When you have somebody in prison for a long time, you've defeated the purpose. the big shock comes when they first get in there. Then, by golly, oh, they would do anything to get out. They're scared to death, and that door clangs shut behind them, and there's all those guys looking at them. You know, they get the shock from their first couple of months, you know, and then after that, they get institutionalized.
Hardened.
Yeah, and you've lost your opportunity. So the whole system is not planned well, in my opinion.
Right. Well, I heard a rumor that you saw a movie.
Ah, I did. Oh, boy. I have to talk about this. I saw a movie last night called Tangerine. It was at the Athena. There's the poster for it. And those two people you see there are two transgender people in Los Angeles. They're black and transgender. And the movie is about their life. It's like a snapshot of a portion of their life. Just a few hours, really, not even 24 hours in their life. And the one you see there with the bag, carrying the bag, is somebody who just got out of jail. She went to jail for 28 days and she just got out. Now she's back on the streets. And you see her trying to cope with coming back on the streets. She thinks of him as her boyfriend, but you know, he thinks of himself as her pimp, I guess, is nowhere to be found. He didn't come and pick her up. She's very upset. But the real reason that I wanted to see this movie was not any of that, because I've heard all that. I worked in a women's prison, so I've heard all this, you know. I'm not interested in that. Was their lies. What are they doing, and how are they doing it, and how hard is it for them to live these lives? And try to understand, I'm trying to understand what this transgender, what is it? What creates or what causes a person to become transgender? Now they didn't talk about this. These I guess I'll say women. These women didn't talk about this. They didn't talk about how they got to be transgender or anything. They just talked about dealing with it in the moment, you know, day to day. But as you watched them, you began to see what a terrible toll this is taking on them to maintain this lifestyle, because they're the bottom echelon of society. They don't have the money. I mean, we think of Bruce Jenner with millions of dollars, now Kate. That's a whole different story. These were young, poor, trying to scrabble some kind of a life and survive. And it's really fascinating to me why, and they were young, healthy, good looking. I mean, if they'd taken off their wigs and their, you know, makeup and all that kind of stuff and dressed as a guy, they would be good looking young guys and, you know, probably could get a job, I would think, of some kind. But that compulsion to be a woman was so strong that instead of being what they were, you know, young, good-looking black guys that would be, you know, acceptable anywhere. I mean,
well, I don't see how you can say if they would be as they were, because that's why they're having the surgery, to be as they are inside.
well, they're not having any surgery because they can't afford it. They're just living as women. They can afford some hormones.
Everyone in the movie was?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, these are the bottom rung of society. They have no money. You know, they're just living day to day. So they can't afford a reassignment surgery. They're lucky if they can afford hormone shots, which a couple of them talked about getting their hormone shots. So they were able to afford that.
Getting a what?
Hormone shots. So, you know, the fact that they were in this situation of not ever being able to afford the surgery, having to be male, and live as female and cope with, you know, all of that.
Or vice versa.
Well, I didn't see any vice versa. They were all
They
the
didn't
people.
have any.
They were all males living as women. So I didn't see any the other way in this movie. But it was shot on the streets of Los Angeles using an iPhone. An iPhone. A whole movie made on an iPhone. And it was pretty darn good. I mean, you couldn't tell, not that I'm any kind of an expert, but I wouldn't have said to, you know, during the movie, oh, what's the matter with that camera? You know, it was perfectly fine. The guy who shot the movie didn't have also any money, which is why he used his iPhone. And these ladies were, he found them on the streets of Los Angeles. Only one of them had any kind of training in acting. So this was the real deal. These were real people. The extras were all real, transgender people living as the opposite sex on the streets of Los Angeles. And it's all about their life. It's really, I think this is more and more something that we're going to have to try to understand, you know, because we have more and more of this just in our culture right now.
Well, you know, the fetus is not differentiated for, I guess, several weeks, and it's kind of unisex until one comes off male and one comes off female. But they are finding out that there are degrees of this sex differentiation from very masculine to more of the feminine traits in the genes. So, and they have established, I believe, that like homosexuals, it's genetic. So, when you say compulsion, that sounds like misguided, but to them, I think they are trying to be themselves, what they feel like inside.
Well, I guess the reason I say compulsion is because it's so hard. It's so hard. Their life is so hard and so tough. And it could be so much easier if they didn't do this, that I feel that they must have a true compulsion of some kind to make them want to live as women, because their life is 10 times harder because they're doing that. Their life is really difficult. And if they just took off all their woman stuff and just lived as men, their life would be much easier. So what makes them do that? I don't know. Okay, now we've been talking about this, and now we're going to play the trailer. You're going to see Cindy is the star, and she has blonde hair, and then her friend Alexandra has the long dark hair.
Hey, Alexandra, come here. Listen, have you seen Cindy?
Cinderella. Looks like someone has a crush.
Cindy's back on the block?
Oh yeah, she's back. She's back and she's going hard.
Merry Christmas, bitch.
Woo!
I got some good news to tell you about me and Chester.
I know what it is. You're breaking up with him. Thank God. Him to be cheating on you like that.
Wait, what?
You didn't know?
White boy. Who is she?
Her name starts with a D.
Danny.
Desiree.
Destiny?
You're making me lose my game.
She's some white fish.
Chester, is she on me with real fish?
Yeah, bitch, like a real fish. Girl, like vagina and everything. Girl, calm down. It's not that serious. I will go with you under one condition. You must promise me that there's not going to be any drama.
I promise.
Look at me in my eyes and promise.
I promise no drama, Alexandra.
Whoa! What the?
Oh, boy.
Help me off the truck! You didn't have to Chris Brown the bitch. What did you do to her?
Does your friend ever shut up?
No, that bitch been talking ever since I met her.
Why does he owe you money?
We made a business transaction.
Chester.
Since him, who's your man? Who's heartbeats for you?
Cindy, what do you see in him? Talk to me.
We've been out of jail for 24 hours. She started causing drama.
She calling the police. The cops are coming. Come on, girl.
Out here, it is all about our hustle. And that's it.
Why does it look cartoonish?
I don't know why you thought it doesn't look cartoonish to me. I don't know why you think that. I think that the trailer was being played a little bit faster than the real film would be, but it didn't look cartoonish to me. I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, that Cindy is the star, and she's the one with the blonde hair. And then you saw her talking to somebody in the donut shop. The donut shop is a character in this movie too, because they all come and go from the donut shop. And the woman that she was talking to with the long dark hair, that was Alexandra. And they're the two main characters in the movie, Alexandra and Cindy. But there are others, believe me. There's a whole Armenian family in here that they have a part to play in the movie.
Yeah, I was surprised. I read someplace how many thousands of transgender people there are. I mean, it's not just a few, and they're coming out with encouragement, and they have organizations for them, and
yeah. Well, now that Bruce Jenner has become Caitlyn, that has brought a lot of attention to this whole matter of transgender. So we're going to be seeing more and more, probably more films, more documentaries, more information is going to come out. But this was pretty good because this movie showed you, if you have nothing, you have no education, you have no money, you have no job, you have nothing, but yet you still feel that you have to be the woman that you think you are, how difficult your life is going to be. But yet they kept doing it. They're not going to stop. This is their life. This is how they're going to live.
this is what they choose.
Yeah.
And at this point, or at that point, I doubt that they are second guessing themselves.
They weren't in the movie. Let's just say that wasn't a part of the movie, that they were second guessing. I thought, oh gosh, how much easier their whole life would be if they would just quit this. Because they're young, they're good looking, they're muscular, you know what I mean? They're fine looking people. And if they could, it isn't if they would, if they could, drop this idea of being a female, which is not helping them really in any way, what they could do, but they don't, and they've chosen this identity, or they're living this identity, they're living this life. So it shows me how strong the feeling is for them, that this is what they have to do, even though it's hard. It's really hard and difficult, almost impossible, but they make it happen.
Well, if you think, and I was going to use you as an illustration, but I'll use me. If I felt that I was male and I was living a pretend life all the time and not letting people know the real me, it wouldn't feel like I was being driven to this. It would be like I want me to shine through and be authentic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's exactly how they feel, that I'm not dressing up as a woman, I am a woman. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And they express that in different ways in the movie.
I read a sad newspaper article the other day where one of these transgender people was picked up by some John, and when he found out that she was transgender, he killed her.
Oh yeah, there's some of that in this movie too. There's a lot of, well, they're on the streets of Los Angeles, so they're doing what street people do. And there's a couple of instances where things like that, not that anybody gets killed, nobody gets killed, but you see how it is to believe and feel that you're something, but you're not, you know. You have the equipment of a man, but you're living as a woman. And when somebody who doesn't know about that finds out, it's very shocking to them. They show that an instance of that. And it's really, it was an education for me, you know, just to watch this, because it's very, very different from gay men. These are not gay men, okay? These aren't. This is something entirely different. This is a whole nother, I don't know what to call it. It's a whole nother gender, I guess you might as well say. We have a third gender now, actually. And that is people who feel that they were born in the wrong body, be they female or male, whatever they are. They feel they were born in the wrong body. And that they are creating themselves as what they feel that they are, regardless of what their actual gender is.
Well, if you read very much in the area, you'll see that some of those that kind of fit in that category have identity disorders as opposed to being transgender. There's just a whole lot of gray areas, and I guess that the internet has a number of support groups for these people because, like you said, I mean, they're just the Lone Ranger out in society.
Well, several of them tell stories of coming to Los Angeles from small towns and other places because they couldn't stay there. Once they decided they were going to live as the opposite sex, they couldn't stay in that town. They were absolutely, was dangerous for them to be there. So they come to Los Angeles. This is why so many of them are there, because they can live their lives on the streets, these streets of Los Angeles, and be quote unquote accepted, and you know, pretty much not have to deal with a lot of hatred and discrimination. They showed some, but it's a big city and nobody really cares, you know, so you're okay.
Well, I guess we don't have a trailer for Trump, do we?
Trump? You mean Donald Trump?
Yes.
No. This is a surprise to me. I didn't know you wanted one. Although I did see today on the news they had the Donald he was doing a performance. You know, I think everything he does is a performance. Somebody had said that he should get another toupee. And he says, I don't wear a toupee. This is my hair. This is not a toupee. So he calls some woman up out of the audience, and she tugs on his hair, and she said, no, it's not a toupee. And, you know, everybody roars and claps, and I thought, you know, if you were going to have a toupee, Donald, I'm quite sure you'd have it sewn in nice and tight on your head so nobody could pull it off. So.
Well, I saw that too, and she looked very well groomed, and she looked kind of like somebody in his camp.
I thought so too, maybe. Who knows? But anyway, I mean, he's just a buffoon. You just have to laugh at him, in my opinion.
Well, you know what troubles me is to think of him as the president, and you know how angry he is going off at one of these countries that
Oh,
has
yeah.
the A-bomb or whatever. He would not be calm enough, I think, to be wise.
Imagine him and Vladimir Putin, who also has anger issues. Imagine the two of them. That'd be kind of fun in a way, if it wasn't that they could destroy the world. You know, that's the scary part. But I guess I shouldn't say buffoon. I'm going to take that back. He's really not a buffoon. What he is, or what he's portraying, is a caricature. He's created himself as a caricature, and he's calling it the silent majority. Now, do you remember the silent majority back in the day? That was Nixon created that term. Silent majority, because it was during the turmoil about the Vietnam War, and there were a lot of people protesting, and Nixon said, well, the silent majority, you know, the people in this country that aren't protesting, they think it's okay. It was Nixon's term to begin with, the silent majority. So I don't know what that is actually Trump speak for. I don't know who he really thinks the silent majority is, but he's using that term now, silent majority.
Well, I was reading again this book on free will, and the point being that people aren't in touch with their motivation. They find themselves doing things and thinking it's for one reason and being for another reason. And I'd just like to share one little paragraph with you. If free will exists, why do the tallest candidates with the best hair usually win elections? The correlation is incredibly strong. And yet even the most poorly informed voter understands that neither hair nor height have any correlation with competence.
I'm not sure I think that. I don't know if I would put that, define that choice as free will or no free will. I think that has to go back to caveman days, you know. Us as a species, we always admire the big and the strong. These were the people that could take care of us and get food, and you know, I think it evokes something like that to me.
Well, another interesting correlation with, some of it may be a kinship selection, but the people voting for them are not tall and have pretty hair.
Yeah, right.
But
But they admire that. They admire that. That's why they're voting for him.
compared to what you'd expect by chance alone, there are more people named Ken who moved to live in Kentucky,
Oh,
Florences who moved to Florida, and more named Lewis who moved to St. Louis. There are more Dennises and Dennises who become dentists, and Laura and Lawrences who become lawyers, compared to people with names that do not share letters. And elsewhere I have read that the number of people who marry people with the same last name is higher than average.
I'll be darned. That's interesting.
And when we don't know, I mean, Trump he's touched on so many areas that will light up people, that he's got people of different persuasions for him. Just, you know, dangle something in front of their nose and say you're angry, you're going to change things, and
Well, I think he falls into that category. He's tall, he's big, he's loud, he's obnoxious, aggressive. Yeah. A lot of people would like to be like that. You know, that a lot of people admire that. They think that's what we need. We need some guy who's not going to take anything, you know. I think a lot of people really in their hearts probably think that he's really the right guy because of that. The very reasons I think he isn't the right guy, they think he is, probably. And so, that having been
I
said...
certainly would be embarrassed if we...
Oh my gosh, of course. Me too. But now, look who you're going to put up against him. You're going to put Hillary Clinton, a small woman. She's not a tall, stately, you know, woman. She's a small, older woman versus Trump, who's a big, strong, masculine, loud, you know, individual. It's, according to what you're saying, you know, it's going to be Trump hands down. Many more people are going to prefer that masculine, what they see as masculine strength and, you know, energy and all, to a woman, a small, you know, voice, wee, 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 you know, as opposed to Trump, where he's got a big, deep voice. Oh, gosh, that's scary, Nan. Wish you hadn't told me that.
And he starts out with talking bad about immigrants and ends up saying, I love the Mexican people.
Well, of course he does. He can get them for half price to work in his casinos or whatever. Of course he loves them.
Well, according to the polls, a number of people watching this show are for Trump and against us.
Well,
so
I think they will come to their senses. I'm not worried, folks. I'm not worried. You'll see the light.
you think we can take a short break and enjoy a little music?
Yeah, I think everybody enjoys a little music. What kind of music?
Band music.
Oh, yeah, band music, fun. Okay.
The gathering place is band.
was fun.
And
I did not know the Gathering Place had a band.
well, I didn't either, and that was shot by Jim Chaney.
Oh,
So I
Thank
really
you, Jim.
appreciate anybody that does videotaping out in the community. We really can use it and value you.
that's for sure. Yeah, if you have any video of anything that you think we could use, you can always send it to the station.
I was looking at the A News last night. There's just so many things going on at the same time. It's, you know, it's difficult just for, say, me and Alex to cover everything.
Oh, yeah.
Tonight I'm going to the water, Save Our Water benefit, and tomorrow I'm going to Nelsonville's dog swim.
Oh,
I missed out for the first time in a long time on Athens dog swim, and I just don't think it was up on the sign again. I don't think that they're very well advertised, or I certainly would have been there taping. So last year, both Nelsonville and Athens had the dog swim on the same day.
Ah.
So the dogs had to pick one or the other.
well, a couple of years ago, my friends who own Lucy, which is the dog that I take care of when they're out of town, and I took Lucy to the dog swim. But it didn't go very well because she's a Yorkie, so she's only like this big, right? She's tiny. And the kiddie pool at Athens doesn't have a zero entry. In other words, you know, there you are, bloop, you go in. So she couldn't touch the ground anywhere, and it scared her. She just had to keep frantically swimming all the time. So, of course, Athens is going to rebuild the pool, you know, and remodel the pool. So I'm
They're going to
hoping-
put in a separate entrance for short, thin dogs.
Well, no, kids too. You know, little toddlers.
Yeah.
That's no good for them. It's at least 3 feet deep. It'd be over their heads. So what they need to do is what so many pools have now, and that's what they call a zero entrance. You know, you start in and it just slopes slowly, 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 slowly. And that, I hope that's what they're going to do. I don't know. If anybody on city council is listening, I recommend a zero entrance, not just for Lucy the dog, but for kids. I mean, for years, I wouldn't have been able to take my grandchildren there when they were little because I'd be afraid they'd drown in the kiddie pool.
Well, I know that city council shudders and scrapes the ground when you speak. Right?
Yeah, right, sure.
What's the latest on the water bill?
Well, look. What do you see there?
Oh.
Look at that St. Bernard. I want to see him jump in. Matt
Yes, I've always taped a whole hour there.
Matt has made magic back there and put
Yes.
up a clip of the dog swim. I love it when they jump in. They're so happy. They just love it.
Yeah.
When we were there with Lucy, somebody's dog, he would jump in, swim to the end, or to the side. They would get him out. He would go back, run, and jump in. This was just like a revolving door. They couldn't get him to stop. He was just completely enamored of it. He just loved it. He wouldn't stop. They had to finally drag him away because he was kind of getting between other people and other dogs and creating a kind of a little furor because he had to run and jump in that pool. But it's really fun to see them dogs so happy.
And it's fun to tape events for access too, to bring that. And people's, well, are you going to advertise or talk the audience into trying to sit in Nan's seat?
Well, that's a thought. If any of you have any interest in being a guest host with me on Kaleidoscope, all you have to do is contact the station.
And she'll laugh at anything. So
Well, not anything, but
come on, laugh.
a lot
You
of
can't.
things. I do find a lot of things funny. That's true. But you know, I think it'd be fun for me anyway to have different people. So we'll see what happens. But I'm thinking of friends of mine that would be fun to talk to. But I'm sure there's people out there in the audience that could potential friends in the audience who would be lots of fun to talk to. And you've probably been places and done things, and that's probably what we would want to talk about. So think about it, and as Lady Macbeth said, screw your courage to the sticking point and call. Okay, that's
Now,
my
what
pitch.
did she say?
Screw your courage to the sticking point. You know, Macbeth, she wanted him to kill the king, and he was very hesitant, and she was pushing him to do it. And she said, screw your courage to the sticking point and do it.
Well, we need to sign off, and we can sign off with a few more doggies swimming.
Wonder what my cat would do if I took her. I don't think she would like
cats.
it.
Oh, no.
No, I don't think she would like it. It's a fight and a half to get her into the bathtub. Never mind the swimming pool. Well, Athens, it's been a pleasure. It's been fun to be with you. Hope you've enjoyed our hour. And come back next week because Nan will still be here. And you never know what might happen.
And I might show one of the earliest kaleidoscopes from 20-some years ago.
Oh, mercy. That's before I was even in Athens, so that would be fun for me. Okay, arrivederci, Athens.
Oh,